Have you ever told somebody that you teach high school and you get this reaction? Yeah, me too. So today I'm going to share with you 4 different ways to keep your high school classroom noise free. Hi, and welcome, friends. Today we're going to be talking about keeping your high school classroom noise free. My name's Kim. I've been teaching science for over 20 years, and the tricks I'm going to share with you today have come from my experience and from a little help from other teachers, and they can work for any classroom, middle school or high school. Here's a story to start. When I first started teaching, I actually had 2 first years in a row because I switched schools after my first year. And both of those years, I had some pretty difficult classes. I was given juniors and seniors. They were large classes. The students didn't know me, and I walked in, all 5 feet tall of me, a face they didn't recognize, and someone who really isn't that physically intimidating. And those were a couple of difficult years, and I decided I was going to have to develop some strategies if I wanted to continue on in this career. And I asked around, I got some help, and many years later, I have a few tricks that have worked for me. Hopefully they can work for you. So let's get started. The first one is seating. So with seating, I like to place my students in groups, and I tell them that their group is their family, and they are allowed to speak to their family, but they are not allowed to speak outside of their family. This works for me because I do a lot of group work, and while there has to be noise in the classroom, at that time, it's controlled noise. And I'm constantly referring to their families that they should be working with, talking with, cooperating with. And that's easy for me because I have a classroom with lab tables, but I can envision that if you just have normal desks, you could also just place them into groups of 3 or 4. My lab tables hold 4 students. That works well for me. The second trick is a little bit more elevated in its intensity, and it's using popsicle sticks with the students' names on them. And using those popsicle sticks to ask random questions during the course of the class to keep the students alert and on their toes. I will just say that this method is not for everybody. Some people feel that it may induce anxiety on the part of the student, and if you feel that way, then don't use it. I can tell you, for me, I have successfully been able to use it to control noise because I will choose the name before I ask the question. And so when I choose the popsicle stick and I see whose name is on it, I can match the question to that student so that they have a better chance of answering it correctly. Sometimes, if I choose a student and I don't want to ask them a question, maybe they're having a bad day, maybe I just need to give them a moment, I will just look at the stick and say, oh, absent, and put the stick off to the side. Or, oh, wrong class, and put the stick off to the side. And the students are none the wiser. So that's one way that you can deal with the popsicle sticks, but ensure success on the part of the students. The third way, again, is a little bit more escalated in its intensity, and this is using a timer to actually time how many minutes the class is wasting during the course of a day. In my experience, I gave students 3 minutes of time that they could waste. I would keep a timer on me during the whole class, and every time I had students that started talking when they weren't supposed to, I started the timer and stopped whatever I was doing. And when the students stopped talking, I stopped the timer and I just kept going. I didn't make any mention of what I was doing. I just made it visible that that's what I was doing. At the end of class, if they kept under the 3 minutes of wasted time, there was a prize. Maybe it was 5 free minutes at the end of class. I've also put posters on my board, and every day that they kept under the 3 minutes of wasted time, I would add a letter to a word on the poster. And when they spelled out the entire word at the end of a couple of weeks, they earned a larger prize, maybe a movie day or a no homework pass or something like that. And the fourth way, and this is the most escalated way that I have used to manage noisy classrooms, is a clipboard. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's the way you use the clipboard. So I will take a class list, I will put it on the clipboard, and as I am running the class, I will check off the names of any students who are talking or not engaged or paying attention at that moment. I do not tell the students what I am doing. All they know is that I am periodically stopping and checking things off a list. And I do make it visible that I am picking up the clipboard, checking things off, and putting the clipboard down, usually face down, so that they can't see what I'm doing. At the end of class, I will look at what I've checked off. If I feel that a student needs to be addressed, then I will refer them to the office. I will issue a detention, any number of consequences that might work for you. But if looking at the list, I see that a student had some check marks and then stopped the behavior because they caught on to what was happening, I don't do anything. So the students don't know who I'm checking off, who I'm not checking off, who might get a consequence, who doesn't get a consequence, and I get to deal with that on a case-by-case basis. The goal here is to use the method that is the most feasible for you, but also the least escalated that you need. A lot of teachers will try to use a very escalated method to keep their class under control, and it backfires if they did not try a less escalated method first. So I would suggest kind of using this hierarchy of escalation to see what works for your class. Family tables first, popsicle sticks, using a timer to gauge wasted time, and then using the clipboard and checking students off on your own during class. If you're interested, I have a detention to correction kit that I have created and is available on my TPT store, and it includes writing assignments that are tailored to the misbehavior so that you can try to find some common ground with the student and correct that behavior going forward. I will link it in the description below if you're interested. I hope that this video gave you some tips and tricks that you can consider this upcoming school year. If you found anything out that you hadn't thought of before, give this video a thumbs up. I hope to chat with you soon. Talk to you later. Bye.